Hello, fellow Americans. I'm Mr. Steffler coming to you from room 111 here at Clintondale Middle School, and we are going to work on the Chapter 8 Reading Notes Part 2. I said that I'd make this video earlier in the week, so I want to make sure that I get this down here. We're working on the Bill of Rights. We're starting to close this lesson out. I'm not at school today. You're probably watching this video and I'm not at school, so you need to have these completed by Wednesday, which is the slated day for the test, and you really need to get that presentation done. So you're going to have plenty of time to work on that today in class, but I want to go over these notes. So last time, quick recap, we went through the First through Fifth Amendment. We talked about things in the First Amendment like freedom of speech and freedom of religion. We went on to the Second Amendment that gives you the right to keep and bear arms. The Third Amendment that protects us from soldiers being kept in homes. The Fourth Amendment, which protects us from illegal searches and seizures. And then the Fifth Amendment, which was a lot of legal stuff, and that's where we're going to continue today. The Fifth Amendment had protection against double jeopardy, the government must pay you for your land if they want to take it. The right to remain silent comes out of the Fifth Amendment. So now we're moving on to the Sixth Amendment, which we'll find on the top of page 67 is the Sixth Amendment. So the top of page 67. In the Sixth Amendment, we have four icons. The Sixth Amendment is very important because it gives us some serious rights. The first icon is two men looking at each other, and it says a defendant has the right to hear and question all witnesses. So if the government is going to put a witness against you, your lawyer gets a chance to question and hear what that witness has to say. So that is the first part of the Sixth Amendment. Next, we have an accused person has the right to a lawyer, and this is where you get that in the Miranda rights, where they say you have a right to an attorney. If you can't afford one, one will be provided for you. That is true. So this comes from the Sixth Amendment, your right to a lawyer. The next part is you see somebody in jail and he's getting told why he's in jail. An accused person has the right to hear the charges and the time and the place of the crime. And this is known as habeas corpus. They cannot keep you indefinitely without charging you with a crime. You have to know what you're being charged with. And the last person, the last icon that is shown in the Sixth Amendment is another jury, and it says an accused person has the right to a speedy public trial by an impartial jury. And this is sometimes, one of those things that really causes people some angst because they don't think the jury is impartial. They think the jury is either on the side of the government or that the jury is on the side of the defendant. And picking a jury is a very difficult thing. So that is Amendment 6. Found on the top of page 67, you have the right to hear witnesses against you, the right to an attorney, the right to know the crime that you're being charged with, and the right to a speedy public jury trial. So that's the Sixth Amendment. Moving on, we are going to go to the Seventh Amendment, which is back on page 65 on the top. So now we've turned our paper over, and now we're on the top of page 65. Now, the Seventh Amendment has to do with civil court, and what civil court is when nobody's a criminal, but somebody is going to sue somebody else. Like, let's say there's a car accident and you're injured and you want compensation. This is what's called a civil trial. So you have two main icons in the Amendment 7, and one is everybody has the right to a jury trial in civil cases. So if you're going to sue somebody, you have the right to have a jury decide the fate of the trial. Next part is a judge cannot overturn the jury trial's decision in a civil case. So let's say the jury comes back and says, you're awarded $26 million because of this car accident. Well, the judge is that's the ruling, and the judge cannot overrule that. So that's the Seventh Amendment. Moving along directly down from that on page 65 is the 8th Amendment. It's a pretty easy amendment. Actually, the next three are pretty easy amendments. We're going to go through them pretty quick. The 8th Amendment is a guilty person is protected from cruel and unusual punishment. It shows this guy being hung from the ceiling. Okay, they can't torture us in jail. Also, the judge cannot demand an excessive bail. You can't get arrested for, unpaid parking tickets and have the judge say, well, you can't get out of jail unless you pay $300 million bond. Like, that's unacceptable. Like, the bail has to suit the crime. And they only don't give you bail if you're like a flight risk, like if you have $1 million and you're trying to leave to Mexico or something like that. So that is the 8th Amendment on page 65. We're almost done, boys and girls. Now, the 9th Amendment has this guy, and he's carrying two rights with him. And that's the 9th Amendment. And the right of the 9th Amendment is kind of obscure. It's people have the rights not listed in the Constitution. So obviously there's been things that have been invented and new things since the Constitution has been invented. And unless there's a law against these new things, you have the right to do it. So rights not listed in the Constitution belong to the people. I think that's on the test. I'm going to give that a bam. Bam, bam, bam. I think that's on the test. Rights, let's say it again, rights that have not been listed in the Constitution belong to the people. Last is the shape of Texas, which has states' rights on it, and this is something that is hotly debated. This is the 10th Amendment, which states have the power, states have all powers not given to the national government or denied to the states. So states can't like make an army. Like you can't make a Michigan army, okay, and have Michigan go to war with Ohio or something crazy like that, even though it happened, kind of. I'm going to talk about that later in the year. But this states' rights situation is something that the state governments are very important, and powers not given to the federal government, such as education and marriage, are supposed to be run by the states. Somehow they're not lately, but the 10th Amendment is very important, and it gives our states some rights. So powers not given to the federal government and not denied to states belong to the states. So there is a 7-minute video that should kind of wrap up our reading notes. And also, if you listen to this video real hard, I really doubt you're going to do poorly on the test. A lot of the test questions are directly related to the notes. So I'm sorry I wasn't at school today. Charlotte's sick. I'll see you on Monday. You're going to have that quiz over legal protections on Monday. And God bless you, and God bless America.